Hey everyone, I hope you all are doing absolutely fine. So welcome to Vet It's You YouTube channel. In this video, we will discuss about the histology of the salivary glands. So let's get started. So first of all, what is salivary glands? So salivary glands are a unit that comprises of various secretory units made up of glandular epithelium that originates from the oral ectoderm and grows into the underlying mesoderm. As we already know that various secretions are occur in the salivary gland, and this is because of the presence of glandular epithelium, and the origination of the salivary gland is from one of the germ layer, that is ectoderm, which will grow and move to the underlying mesoderm and another germ layer during the course of its development. Moving forward, there are two types of the salivary gland found in the oral cavity. One of them is major salivary glands that includes the parotid, mandibular and sublingual glands. Another one is the minor salivary glands that are named according to their location, for example, labial, lingual, buccal, palatine, zygomatic that is found in carnivorous like dogs, molar that is found in cats. So this is about the salivary glands. So you have to memorize that their origination is from the oral ectoderm and they are lined with the help of glandular epithelium that helps them to secrete the different substances. Now moving on, one of the important secretions of the salivary gland is saliva. It is basically the mixture of both the serous and the mucus secretory products. Before moving further, I would like to tell you about the serous and the mucus secretory products. So the secretory product which have less amount of the viscosity and higher water content is known as serous products. And talking about the mucus, they have high amount of viscosity with the lower water content. So saliva is basically the mixture of the secretory products, whether it is serous or the mucus, which is ultimately products of the salivary glands. Talking about the main function of the saliva is just to moisten the ingested food and the lubrication of the upper digestive organs, thus enhancing the flow of the ingesta to the stomach. Just take an example, if your food consists of the dry products, it is quite difficult to just chew as well as ingest. So here plays the important role by the saliva in moistening that dry food and enhancing its flow towards the stomach. Now moving on, we will discuss about the major salivary glands. So the first one is the parotid salivary gland. So the first characteristic of the parotid salivary gland is that in general they are predominantly serous in the case of domestic animals, although some occasional isolated mucus secretory units are found in the case of dogs and cats. So simply their secretory product may be serous or mucus. Talking about its structure, it is a compound acinar glands that is composed of numerous lobules and separated by a thin connective tissue septa. Just imagine a bunch of grapes hanged in the jelly or a flask-shaped structure with a large lumen. This resembles the structure of the parotid salivary gland. So basically the lobules are the divisions of the salivary gland which consist of different secretory product and separated with the help of a thin connective tissue septa or the membrane. Moving on, these lobules consist of the acini that is formed with the help of a pyramid shaped cell with a basal nucleus surrounded with the help of a basophilic cytoplasm. So acini are the rounded secretory unit that is formed with the help of a pyramid shaped cell having a basal nuclei. Nucleus is located at the base and surrounded with the help of a cytoplasm that is basic in nature or basophilic, and these all structure are located inside the lobule. Moving on, the apex or the proximal end of the each cell is filled with a zymogen granules that are precursors to the digestive enzymes. As you already know that the salivary gland secretes an enzyme known as salivary amylase, and the activation of this enzyme is just due to the presence of zymogen granules that are present in the apex of the cell. Talking about the myoepithelial cells, they are the cells that have characteristics of both muscles as well as the epithelium cells. And in the salivary glands, they are located between the secretory cells and the basement membrane. They basically facilitate the movement of the saliva in the salivary ducts. Now the narrow lumen of the acinus will opens into a short intercalated duct that is lined with the help of a low cuboidal epithelium. So basically acinus are located inside the lobule and will opens into a duct known as intercalated, which is lined with the help of a cuboidal epithelium. Now this intercalated duct will join a large striated or the salivary duct that is lined with the help of simple columnar epithelium and characterized by the striations in the basal portion of the cell. So basically, first of all, the acinus opens into the intercalated duct and intercalated duct will open into a salivary duct. And the striations are basically the infoldings of the plasma membrane found in the case of a salivary duct. The striated or the salivary duct are the largest structures found within the globule and only one to participate in the secretory process. Now these salivary or the striated duct will extend to the edge of the lobule and joins with the interlobular ducts located between the lobules. So simply this is a series of the network in which the acinus opens into a short intercalated duct. The intercalated duct will join with a salivary or a striated duct, which helps in the secretory process and joins with the interlobular ducts present in between the lobules. These interlobular ducts are lined with the help of a simple columnar epithelium which changes to the stratified columnar epithelium as the ducts become larger and fuses with the similar ducts draining other lobules. So basically these ducts help in the drainage of the different secretory products from the lobules, and in this process they fuses with the different ducts, enhances their secretory activity as well as their efficiency. And during this course their epithelium lining changes from the simple columnar to the stratified columnar. Now these interlobular ducts will converge to form the parotid duct. And again the epithelium changes from the stratified columnar to the stratified squamous, where the parotid duct will open into the oral cavity. This is basically a well-established network of the different ducts in which the narrow lumen of the acinus opens into the intercalated duct, and this intercalated duct will joins with the salivary duct, which is lined with the help of simple columnar epithelium with the characteristic striations. And this salivary or the striated duct will joins with the interlobular duct, which will converge to form the parotid duct. This is about the histology of the salivary glands, and we will continue its classification in the upcoming video. I hope you like it. Please like, share, comment and subscribe to my channel Vet It's You. Thanks for the watching. An initiative by Ankit Kaushik.